All right, welcome back. Today, we are diving into something really cool, a kind of symbolic puzzle. We're going to unpack a hidden language that seems to connect a specific date, a piece of scripture, and a spiritual holiday. Sounds wild, right? So you gotta be asking, how in the world can a calendar date, an ancient scripture, and a spiritual observance actually be linked mathematically? I mean, it sounds kind of impossible, doesn't it? But believe it or not, there's this hidden thread connecting them. So let's meet the key players in this mystery. First up, we've got a simple date from our everyday calendar, May 19th. And for our purposes, we're just gonna call it 519. Okay, second, we have a verse from the Hebrew Torah. It's Deuteronomy 8:8, and it's this beautiful description of the abundance of the Promised Land. And number three, the observance of Buddha's parinirvana. This is all about his final liberation, breaking free from that endless cycle of rebirth. So there you have it, a date, a promise, and a release. How do they connect? So where do we even begin with this? Well, the key, as it turns out, isn't really about what these things are on the surface, but the numbers hidden behind them. We're going to start by decoding that date, 519. But to do that, we have to look at it through a totally different mathematical lens. Okay, so the first step to unlocking this whole thing is something called conceptual base translation. Now, I know that sounds super complicated, but really it's just about looking at numbers in a different way. See, we're all used to a base 10 system, right? We count with 10 digits, 0 through 9. But what if we used a base 12 system instead, kind of like a clock? That's called the duodecimal system, and that's exactly where our first big clue is hiding. All right, check this out, because this is the crucial step. In our normal everyday base 10 world, the number 19 just means 1 10 and 9 ones. Simple. But in base 12, that first digit isn't the tens place anymore. It's the 12s place. So when we take the 19 from our date, 519, and read it as a base 12 number, it's not 19. Nope, it's 19, which means one group of 12 plus 9 ones. You add them up, 12 plus 9, and you get a totally new number, 21. And just like that, this simple translation gives us the first major piece of our puzzle. The date 519 now becomes month 5, day 21. But trust me, this is just the first layer of the onion. Okay, get ready, because this next part, this is what makes the whole thing work. The sources for this call it the master key. They say it's a brilliant and crucial refinement that adds a profound layer of coherence to the entire system. Honestly, this is the moment where everything just snaps into focus. And you know what? We already get this on an intuitive level. Think about it. We don't really experience a 24-hour block of time, do we? We experience it as a split cycle, right? Day and night, AM and PM. That's a foundational base 12 system that we literally live by every single day. This insight is absolutely key. So remember that number 21 we just got from the date? Well, if we think about time as this split day and night cycle, then day 21 isn't just a number, it's a temporal state. It's one half of a complete cycle. And that means, logically, it has to have its other half to be whole. So that base 12 calculation gave us the D21 part of the cycle. And to complete that cycle, to make it whole, we absolutely have to add its necessary counterpart, the night 21 part. And when you put them together, day and night, what do you get? You get the number that acts as the universal constant, the glue binding this entire symbolic system together, the number 42. Now, for many, this number, 42, is pretty famous. It's known in culture and even some mystical circles as a symbol of cosmic harmony. It's the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, right? So symbolically, this is the ultimate answer we've been searching for. Okay, so we have our number, 42. Now let's move on to our second component and see how this all starts to build. It's time to look at that verse from Scripture. So let's turn to the Scripture. That verse from Deuteronomy, it describes the Promised Land by listing out 7 specific species, 7 special crops. And in so many traditions, the number 7 is just huge symbolically. It often represents divine completion or perfection. So boom, that's our second key number, 7. All right, so now we have all the pieces on the board. We've got the path, the ultimate answer, which is 42, and we've got the divine promise of completion, which is 7. So what happens when we bring them together? The logic here is actually kind of poetic. You have the path, right, represented by 42, and it finds its fulfillment in the divine promise, represented by 7. The operation that puts them together is division, and that simple calculation reveals our final number, 6. And this is the final, absolutely profound connection, the number 6. It points directly to the heart of our third component. Remember the Buddhist parinirvana, his final liberation? Well, that is specifically described as the ultimate release from the 6 realms of samsara, that very cycle of rebirth we talked about. The number we calculated is the concept. It's a perfect match. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the whole picture. This isn't just a bunch of random math problems. It's a symbolic story, and it's all about liberation. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? What's so powerful is seeing how the numbers become they become mnemonics for transcendence. The date gives us 42, the ultimate answer. The scripture gives us 7, divine completion. And when you put them together, their synthesis gives us 6, which symbolizes liberation from the 6 realms of samsara. It's just a perfect self-contained symbolic loop. And this brings us right back to why that day/night cycle insight was so incredibly critical. It's the thing that transforms this whole model from being just, interesting speculation into what you see now, a completely coherent symbolic system. What started out as 3 totally separate ideas, a date, a verse, a holiday, it becomes this elegant, logical framework where the math consistently points to one single, profound theme: the journey's end, the promised land, and that final enlightenment.
So, what does this all mean in the end? I mean, is it just a massive coincidence? A hidden code, maybe? Or is it something else? Perhaps it's just a new way of perceiving the harmony in the cosmos. It really makes you wonder if the things we see as separate, our dates, our ancient stories, our deepest beliefs, might actually be speaking a common language, a kind of universal harmony written in numbers, just waiting for us to figure out how to listen.